In our news story of the week, we look at what people are talking about in this buzzing city of ours.
The tragic loss of 5 surfers at Scheveningen beach exactly 1 year ago left behind a collective trauma for the local community and the Hague citizens. At the day of the event and the days that followed, Dutchbuzz reporters were there to witness firsthand how even amidst the pandemic and the lockdown measures, people were leaning towards each other, sharing the pain and the stress for the fate of the victims. A team of 39 volunteers of the Royal Dutch Rescue Company were the first respondents who managed to save the life of one of the surfers that day. A year later, they received a Medal of Honor for their services and courage from the only survivor of this tragedy. Today, I'm sitting at the same room at the boathouse of KNRM at Scheveningen. With me, Marnix Jansen and Dave Hout. They look back and they share their perspective.
I remember it started just like any other call, not knowing what will happen, what's going on. It developed very quickly. The crew of the boat had already heard there was a major urgency. They had already left the harbour. The truck was leaving the station.
The call was there were surfers in distress, and there was a lot of confusion on how many people there were in problems.
What do you remember from that day?
For me personally, a couple of positive things came out of this really bad situation. That the person that we got to save was the only one with children, and that meant for me a lot. Didn't make it okay, but it was something positive. And the other part that was positive is the brotherhood you create with all your fellow rescuers on that moment, which makes you stronger.
Reflecting on the tragic event, Marnix Jansen points out that KNRM is a historic organization founded exactly in the aftermath of a tragedy almost 2 centuries ago.
KNRM was founded after a disaster in 1824 in the north of Holland. A ship ran aground near Huisduinen. So there wasn't a rescue organization yet, but villagers living nearby saw the ship in distress and they decided to get a rowboat, get a crew together in really bad weather, and they rowed to that ship. They couldn't take everybody, so they had to go back a second time for the last 3 people. And they managed to get there again and get them on board, but on their way back they were hit by a big wave, and all of them except for one drowned. So even in 1824 that story made its way across Holland, and it was the reason to say we need a rescue organization that can provide aid on a professional level. In keeping in the same spirit of those first guys in Huisduinen, we still only use volunteers and we don't ask any money for our services.
I wanted to know how the legacy and the mission of the organization aligned to their personal values.
Being part of an organization like this makes me feel darn proud.
Dave and Marnix continue the legacy of those early rescuers and the people who envisioned the formation of a rescue team so to make the North Sea look a bit less hostile. It is an organization of solidarity, rising from the strong community ties of people who live next to the sea, and they know the good and the dangerous side of it.
There are dangers in the sea. People forget that, and it's also very important that people look after each other.
Yeah, there's numerous dangers at sea, and you can't see most of them.
And we don't want people to be scared of the sea, enjoy it, but just be sensible and responsible.
So if someone sees anyone in danger, even if they're not sure, just call 112 and either it's checked out by the operator or we'll be alerted and check it out ourselves.
Meeting with people who are committed to serve their community helps us all feel closer to this amazing city we live in. I wonder how we can give some of the support back.
We live on donations, so becoming one of our rescuers on shore, as we call them, is the most important thing. We right now have a crowdfunding campaign to finance our new smaller boat. It's Scheveningen samen voor KNRM.nl. Just be an ambassador for the KNRM.
Looking back at the formation of organizations like KNRM, which emerged from a solid basis of community ties, one thing we can say for sure is that tragic events result to problem-solving action and deep connections. That is the miracle of human persistence. I'm Elena Gjolla, reporting for Dutchbuzz.
Dutchbuzz, for news, views and interviews that focus on the city of The Hague.